Hey, Jason Tuschman back here with Doc Biz. Today we've got Shareef Mahdavi of SM2 Strategic with us, and the focus today is going to be on the patient experience. Shareef, glad to have you here. Thank you so much for being on.
Jason, thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
So Shareef, before we get into the patient experience, and Shareef actually has a book on this upcoming called Beyond Bedside Manner, which I've had the opportunity to see some early notes on, and I think it's going to be fantastic. Shareef, can you give us a little bit about your background? You kind of grew up in the LASIK world, and I think that's a very unique perspective, not only from patient experience, but elective health, and would love to have that shared first with everybody.
Sure. So the first half of my career was working for medical device firms. Most people have heard of Carl Zeiss. They acquired an ophthalmic company that I started with in sales and marketing. And then after 8 years there, I went to a company called Vizx. And Vizx was one of the pioneers developing the laser platform used in LASIK. So I had the privilege of leading the marketing effort and the marketing team back in the mid-90s when the laser was first approved here in the US. And it was fantastic. It was incredible. We were able to not only sell lasers, but to get the procedure volume going. And LASIK has become the most widely performed elective surgical procedure in the world, especially around the world now, with millions done every year. And it was just a privilege to be part of that launch. And that was 25 years ago.
So yeah, it's hard to believe. Yeah, as I've learned about LASIK over the years, really the LASIK teams that were out there with the medical equipment companies, the technology, the build out of the sales and marketing, really kind of uncharted territory when it came to elective health, far more than even breast augmentations, which were still being done at that time. Today it's a little bit different. Everybody's caught up to what they've done, but at a corporate level, what you guys were doing back then was really uncharted water.
It took, instead of saying it took a village, it took many villages to make this happen. It was obviously at the point of service with the doctors, and they, for the first time, having a true elective procedure. I don't count radial keratotomy. That was not as accurate. People were doing it, but that was done maybe 200,000 procedures a year. This grew to 1.4 million at its peak and has suffered for a whole host of reasons, which I don't believe have to do with the economy or Hurricane Katrina or 9/11. There were other reasons that I've been talking about over the years. I left after 8 years there at that company and started my own firm, SM2 Strategic, and now for nearly 20 years have been working with device manufacturers, a lot of startups, helping them launch their technologies. And this is in ophthalmology, aesthetics, dentistry, women's health, ENT. And I've also been working with doctors, Jason. I've had the privilege of helping doctors across multiple specialties understand that their patient is also their customer.
So
right?
let me pause you there and let's get into that. So you wrote a book that's getting ready to get released on patient experience. It's called Beyond Bedside Manner. I've had the opportunity to look at the chapters that are in it and made my skin get excited here to say that what you have laid out is exactly where the industry is going. And people talk about it, but I don't think they have action plans. And I don't think they truly understand this ability to have science and almost the social art mesh together to create a really important part of their practice, essentially their business, and that is the patient experience, the customer experience. So when I look at it, your first section was really interesting to me. It was the parallels of what you talk about relative to what I talk about with respect to social media. I thought were very interesting. Authenticity, the brand as the doctor. Could you talk a little bit about that as kind of an entry point into the discussion?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, the reason I wrote this book is because I think there's been a lot of people, industry consultants have talked about what doctors need to do. Here's the specific things, but very little has been discussed about why patient experience is so important and how doctors need to think about it. And until we get the mindset in the right place, change isn't going to happen, right? And doctors can do procedures and not focus on experience, but now, and particularly now with this COVID crisis, as we come out of this thing down the road, patient experience is going to be just even more critical as patients make decisions with their time and their money. And the first part of the book does focus on the professional, the doctor, right? On why they got into medicine in the first place, and really helping them understand that they are a brand. Every doctor is a brand, whether they do it intentionally or not. And to also, a big theme in the book is to help doctors and their staff understand what things look like from the patient's perspective, from the customer's perspective, because it's too easy to forget that and get enamored with all the technology, all the lasers, all the implants, all the cool stuff, and forget about the person who's paying for it. And I'm trying to just remind them of that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's the patient experience perspective, and your book is written from that. What I also don't think docs understand yet is that even the advertising technology is getting so advanced that they can measure. So Google is measuring the patient experience and rewarding doctors that have good patient experience. So if you think about it, and I still don't think doctors realize this yet, that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, great, you could have an SEO company and they had a black box that they could go do a bunch of different things, and I did that, I lived it, etc. That is not the case anymore. What is happening in just search engine marketing alone or social promotions? The technology of the patient, the technology allows the patient experience to be measured and monitored in real time, not just by doctors, but by the marketing channels. So when you look at online reviews and Google's ability to read an online review, then read your Instagram activity and understand what patients are saying there about their experience with you, then understand how often those same consumers are coming back to your website. All they are doing is mathematically measuring patient experience, and they're going to reward you with growth within the search engines or growth within the marketing channels based on patient experience. So it's really an amazing thing on how the personal experience has to be improved, and it's actually going to help the mechanics of their marketing.
Well, what I hear you saying, and I think it's right, is that they go hand in hand, right? It's both art and science.
Yin and yang.
And the technology has gotten a lot smarter. It's important now for doctors to get a lot smarter as well. And the title of the book, Beyond Bedside Manner, really harkens back to say, look, doctors who have good bedside manner, which was really the original customer survey, wasn't it? A doctor was evaluated on their bedside manner, how nice they were, or how nice the staff was. Okay, that hasn't gone away. That's still very important, but it's necessary but not sufficient. You can do great bedside manner, you can be really nice, and a patient's still dissatisfied. And you have to ask yourself why. And it's because you have to do a lot more than just be nice. It's the systems, it's the processes, it's getting everyone on the staff, the culture of the practice, and that's what we talk about in the book. And we want doctors to work smarter, not harder, because the technology, as you mentioned, technology's already gotten a lot smarter. And what I've noticed in the last 5 to 6 years is an explosion of tools, of technologies, of apps that doctors can basically plug into your practice and utilize to help make the marketing easier. So less time has to be spent by the staff counting, and more resource, more energy, more capacity by the entire team can be used to focus on the art, on the interaction with the patients. One reason why that's so important, if you just rewind the clock 30 years to how much human interaction we had and go to today, we've lost about 85% of it. Why? Because it's gotten automated. We don't go see a bank teller. We use an ATM. We don't call a travel agent. We just book a ticket online, right? We can order our movies online. We can order our food online. Heck, we don't have to have much human interaction at all.
So I got to have you pause there. It's really interesting because yes, all of that technology has decreased our social interaction.
Right.
Yet all of that technology, because of the exposure of consumer behavior, has created a heightened sense of experience by consumers because they see what's happening. Everybody thinks, as I say, everybody thinks they're a Kardashian. So even though you've decreased the actual social engagement, you have actually moved into a situation where technology has created a higher expectation of patient experience. Therefore, you have to get back to the art of it.
No doubt. No doubt. And as I said earlier, it's worth restating, as we come on the other side of this crisis, and I'm hoping that doctors now are, they're putting their plans into place for how they're just dealing with the moment, survival. But now they have more time to reimagine and rethink what they want the patient experience to become. Because guess what? Every doctor is also a customer. They know, kind of almost intuitively from their own experience, how they want to be treated. And the key is coming up with the programs, the systems, the processes, the training, so that they and the staff are doing that interaction at a whole new level. Everyone's raising their game, right? Because the consumer is expecting it and going to demand it and is making choices with their...
And they're going to publish it.
Well, that's right. So it's not just it's time, it's their money, and it's their attention. And guess what? Jason, you and I know this well. If the doctor's not doing a good job or the staff's not doing a good job, it's too easy for the consumer to check out and just pull out their smartphone and go somewhere
find the
else.
next one. Yeah. And
so it's attention. Attention has also become really important.
So speaking of attention, I look as a business owner, as a doctor today, you've essentially got two masters. You've got your team, right, which really you're a servant to your team, and that's part of being a business owner. And I think if you embrace that about your team's experience, you can create a much more successful organization, which is going to lead to a higher patient experience. Yet you're also a servant to your customer, to your patient. So one of the things that you talk about in that, and that's a hard balance to maintain. It's a very hard balance to maintain. One of the things that you talk about that allows for consistent understanding of this and monitoring is your daily huddle in your book. So in a quick minute, can you talk about how to leverage the daily huddle to not go over numbers, which I'm a numbers guy, as far as how many patients are coming in, what was your revenue, blah, 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 but how to use the daily huddle, that quick stand-up, to discuss the opportunities for improving patient experience during that upcoming day.
Great example. It's one of the insights. We got 57 of them. So you just picked the one that was important to you. The daily huddle basically is because the weekly staff meeting or monthly staff meeting, that's where you review the numbers. But the daily huddle is a way of bringing the team together in the morning before you start to talk about any special issues of the day, any special situations that are coming up, but also it's a way of connecting. Because if, as you said, if the employees aren't on board and aren't cohesive as a team, you can't deliver a great patient experience. So the employee experience also has to be thought of. And this is a way of connecting personally. And I even give the examples from practices I've worked with where they will have different employees take turns of coming up with either an inspirational quote or story to share with the team. So it's not the manager or the doctor doing it every day and leading it. No, take turns. And it's a way of bringing in connection in the moment that can then lead and transcend through the day with the customers. And guess what? Our patients know this. We know when we walk into an environment, we get the vibe, right? Hey, does it feel good or does it feel not so good? 100%. It's the same in a medical practice. Well, and the huddle helps address that.
And it's also what I've learned about, what I feel I sense is that as you create a better patient experience, you create a better team experience. As you create a better team experience, you create a better patient experience. Mm-hmm. So they feed each other. And practices and employees that are working at a high patient experience practice are happier and they perform better and it's easier to run. So why wouldn't you put the patient experience at the absolute top of your list?
It is the great untapped resource. My thesis is if the average patient experience across medicine, which by the way is terrible, right? When we still have waiting rooms and we put people on hold, right? Stuff like that. If we can raise the whole level, more patients will spend more of their time and more of their money with doctors, and the entire category, especially for elective procedures, will grow. That and affordability are the two big things holding growth back. It's been well documented, and hopefully in the book, there's enough inspiration there to get doctors taking this more seriously and putting these ideas into practice.
100%. Last thing I'd like to touch on before we go, something that I really believe in, and we've done with our patient coordinators once or twice, and I should be doing it every quarter. So I'm going to be hypocritical in my endorsement of this. you talk about the concierge service and taking your team to an environment at a hotel or whatever it may be, to learn more from the experts on creating the right experience. We have leveraged here in West Palm Beach the breakers. We have taken our patient coordinators, we've taken them to the tea room, have them sit, have a drink, and just listen to how the experts at Consumer Experience create that environment. Could you talk about that real quick before we sign off?
Certainly. So it's an imperative. What we used to call as kids going on a field trip in school is really the adult version is a learning excursion. It is not fair to expect your team members, your staff, to deliver a 5-star experience if they've never experienced it themselves. And they're likely at the stage of life, if they're younger, they may have never stayed in a Ritz-Carlton. They may never have been to a fine dining experience. So you, as the leader of the practice, need to make that happen so they can feel it. They can know what it feels like inside, because experiences differ from services. Services are activities performed on our behalf. They happen outside of us. Experiences happen on the inside.
Yeah.
So the ability to either go out in the field on a learning excursion or to bring a local concierge in to the practice to do some staff training and development is a great way to help get everyone on board to understand what you mean when you say, I want our patients to have a 5-star experience.
Yep. Shareef, thanks for your time. Congratulations on Beyond Bedside Manner. Look forward to everybody getting access to that. Where can they go when the book comes out? Where can they sign up?
They can go right now. We've got the website up, beyondbedsidemanner.com. They can go there. They can sign up to get notified when the book comes out. They'll also get my newsletter that has different issues. And we have lots of resources. We're planning now to start a twice weekly talk show with doctors called Pep Talk. That'll launch in the next couple weeks. And we'll have other services that will be available to help doctors on this mission. Because you know what? If we can make the patient experience better for patients, whether it's paid or reimbursed care, we can do a lot to improve lives and improve medical care as well.
Yeah, patient experience as a part of your business is only going to get more important. So thanks for coming in today to DocBiz. We appreciate your time, and please, please, please think about patient experience. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity to integrate into your practice at a technology level, at a service level, at a team level. It will benefit you. Look forward to talking to you next time, and thanks again.
Right on.
Thanks, Shareef. So thanks for joining DocBiz. We'll be back soon with more information on the business of running your medical practice. We hope you found this time valuable, and we look forward to seeing you next time.